A lowly person like you will never understand. So I showed up to my GF's Christmas party. Turns out she was there with her fiancé. I'm still in shock. Never thought I'd be posting one of these stories, but here I am at 2 a.m., unable to sleep or think straight. I'm Tyler, 29. For the past 2 years, I've been dating Victoria, 27. We met at a coffee shop downtown where I was working on freelance design projects. She was gorgeous, perfectly styled hair, designer clothes, completely out of my league, but somehow she gave me her number. Our relationship moved quickly after that. The weird part, in 2 years I never met her family, not once. There was always an excuse. My parents are really old-fashioned and would judge us. My mom's having health issues. Family drama, you wouldn't want to be involved. The timing isn't right. I respected her boundaries. Everyone's family is different, right? Mine is tight-knit. My sister Sarah knows everything about my life, and my parents memorized Victoria's name after our 3rd date. They kept asking when they'd meet her, and I kept making excuses. 2 weeks ago, I was at Victoria's place while she was in the shower. I noticed a fancy envelope on her counter, a Christmas party invitation to the Whitmore estate with a blank name section. I figured it must be for me. Finally, after 2 years, I was getting invited to a family event. When Victoria got out of the shower, I mentioned the invitation and how I was looking forward to meeting her family. She got this strange look, panic mixed with annoyance. She quickly said, "Oh, that's not for you. That's just a work thing. I might not even attend. I told you I'll be busy with family stuff at Christmas anyway." I let it go, but something felt off. She'd been acting strange lately, always hiding her phone screen, canceling plans last minute, being vague about her whereabouts. Classic signs, I know, but I trusted her. Fast forward to Christmas Eve. Victoria texts me, "Spending time with family tonight and tomorrow. You understand?" "Merry Christmas," I replied with a sweet message, but remembered the invitation. The address was still in my phone from when I'd sneakily photographed it. I don't know what came over me. Maybe intuition, maybe 2 years of excuses, but I decided to just show up. Not to cause drama, just to surprise her. I bought an expensive wine bottle, dressed in my best suit, even picked up small gifts for her family based on what little she'd told me about them. The drive to the Whitmore estate was nerve-wracking. It was a massive house in the expensive part of town, the kind with a gate and circular driveway. I parked on the street and approached the house, seeing through the large windows that it was packed with people in formal attire. That's when I saw her. Victoria was sitting on a couch, champagne in hand, looking stunning in a red dress I'd never seen before. And beside her, with his arm wrapped tightly around her shoulders, was a guy I'd never seen. They looked comfortable, intimate, like a couple who had been together for years. I moved closer to the window, staying hidden behind decorative bushes. I watched as an older woman, had to be her mother, approached them, smiling warmly. The guy stood up and hugged her. The 3 of them looked like a perfect family portrait. My heart pounded so hard I thought I'd pass out. I stood frozen for 5 minutes, watching this alternate reality play out. Victoria was laughing, touching this guy's arm, leaning into him. They looked like they belonged together. I don't know what possessed me, but I walked up to the front door and rang the bell. An older woman answered, the same one I'd seen hugging the mystery man. She looked confused, like she wasn't expecting more guests. "Hi, I'm Tyler," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Victoria's boyfriend." The woman's face changed instantly. "I'm sorry, there must be some mistake. Victoria doesn't have a boyfriend. She's engaged to Harrison." Just then Victoria appeared in the hallway behind her. When she saw me, all color drained from her face. She looked like she'd seen a ghost. "Tyler," she whispered, barely audible, "what are you doing here?" "I came to meet your family," I said, still clutching the wine and gifts. "After 2 years, I thought it was time." The man from the couch, Harrison, apparently came up behind Victoria with a concerned look. "Babe, what's going on?" "Who is this?" Victoria looked between us, panic written all over her face. I could see her mind racing, trying to find a way out. Then her expression hardened and she said words I'll never forget. "A lowly person like you will never understand." Her tone made the meaning clear. She was looking at me like I was dirt on her designer shoes. I stood there, still holding the stupid wine and presents, as reality crashed down. For 2 years, I'd been the side piece, the dirty secret, the guy not good enough to meet her family. Meanwhile, she had a whole other life with a fiancé and future in-laws who had no idea I existed. Harrison's face changed as he put the pieces together. Victoria, who is this man? Why is he saying he's your boyfriend? And that's when all hell broke loose. The way everything unraveled in the next 30 minutes has left my head spinning. I still can't process it all, but I'll update when I can think straight. Right now I'm sitting in my car a few blocks away, and I can't even drive because my hands won't stop shaking. Update 1. Sorry for the delay. My phone died after posting, and I crashed for about 14 hours straight when I got home. Thanks for all the supportive comments. Reading them was like having a virtual army behind me. So, where was I? Standing at the door like an idiot while Victoria's secret life imploded around her. After Victoria's comment about me not understanding, the atmosphere turned ice cold. I wish I could say I had some epic comeback, but honestly I was too stunned. I just stood there, staring at her like she was a stranger. Finally, I found my voice. "You're right," I said quietly. "I don't understand how someone can be this fake." Harrison was looking between us, his face darkening. "Victoria, answer me. Is this man saying he's your boyfriend? Have you been seeing him?" Victoria was cornered and she knew it. She switched tactics immediately. "Harrison, baby, it's not what you think," she pleaded, grabbing his arm. "He's just some guy I was seeing before we got serious. He's obsessed with me, follows me around. I've tried to let him down gently." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. 2 years, I said, looking directly at Harrison. "We've been together for 2 years. I have the photos, texts, everything to prove it. I have the key to her apartment. We spent Thanksgiving together." Mrs. Whitmore gasped. By now, other party guests had noticed the commotion and were gathering in the hallway. Victoria's eyes flashed with anger. "You're ruining everything," she hissed. "I'm ruining everything," I laughed hollowly. "You've been living a double life, Victoria. You're engaged to this man while sleeping in my bed half the week." Harrison's face was a storm of emotions. He turned to Victoria, his voice dangerously calm. "Show me your phone." "What? No, Harrison, you're making a scene," she protested. "Show me your phone," he shouted, making everyone jump. Mrs. Whitmore stepped forward. "Victoria, if you have nothing to hide, show him." Reluctantly, Victoria pulled out her phone, but before handing it over, she quickly tried to do something with it. Harrison snatched it from her hands. "What's your passcode?" he demanded. "Harrison, this is ridiculous." "The passcode, Victoria." She gave it to him, and we stood in excruciating silence as he scrolled through her phone, his expression darkening. 2 years, he finally said, looking up with disgust. "There are messages from 2 years ago, photos, plans. You've been seeing him our entire relationship. We were already engaged when some of these messages were sent." An older man who I assumed was Victoria's father stepped forward. "What is going on here?" Mrs. Whitmore turned to him, her voice shaking. "Richard, it seems our daughter has been leading a double life. She's been seeing this young man while engaged to Harrison." Richard's face turned an alarming shade of red. He looked at Victoria like he didn't recognize her. "Is this true?" Victoria was crying now, mascara running. "Daddy, please, it's complicated." "There is nothing complicated about infidelity and deception," he roared. "We raised you better than this." Harrison handed the phone back like it was contaminated. "The ring," he said coldly. "Give me back the ring." "Harrison, no, please," she begged. "I love you. He doesn't mean anything to me." That stung, even though I already knew where I stood. Harrison pushed her hands away. "The ring, Victoria, now." With trembling hands, she removed a massive diamond ring and placed it in his palm. He pocketed it without looking at it. "We're done," he said simply. "I don't want to see you again." He turned to me then, and I braced myself, expecting his rage. Instead, his eyes held only exhaustion and a hint of pity. "Did you know about me?" he asked. I shook my head. "No, I had no idea until tonight." He nodded, seeming to accept this. "I'm sorry." "I'm sorry too," I replied, meaning it. Mrs. Whitmore stepped forward, her face a mask of controlled fury. "Victoria, I think it would be best if you left now. You've embarrassed yourself and this family enough for one evening." Victoria looked around desperately. "Mom, you can't be serious. It's Christmas Eve. Where am I supposed to go?" "That is no longer our concern," Richard said coldly. "You made your choices." I decided it was time for me to leave too. This wasn't my family drama to witness anymore. I set down the wine and gifts on a side table and turned to go. As I walked down the driveway, I heard rapid footsteps behind me. Victoria was stumbling after me in her heels, mascara streaked down her face. "Tyler, wait, please," she called, grabbing my arm. "I need a place to stay tonight." I stared at her, incredulous. "Are you serious right now? They kicked me out. It's Christmas Eve, Tyler. Where am I supposed to go?" "Maybe try a hotel," I suggested. "I'm sure you can afford it with all the money Harrison gave you." Her face hardened. "You did this to me. You couldn't just stay away, could you? You had to ruin everything." I laughed again, that same hollow sound. "Goodbye, Victoria." I drove away, leaving her standing in her expensive dress on the sidewalk. Through my rearview mirror, I could see her frantically typing on her phone, probably calling friends for a place to crash. I drove around aimlessly, trying to process everything. 2 years of my life felt like a lie. Every memory was tainted with the knowledge that while she was with me, she was planning a future with someone else. When I finally got home, I noticed Victoria had left quite a few things at my place: designer clothes, expensive makeup, jewelry. I gathered it all up and shoved it in a closet. I couldn't bear to look at any of it. I spent Christmas Day alone, ignoring calls from family. I couldn't face telling them yet. Sarah, my sister, finally got worried enough to come by with leftovers. When she saw my face, she knew something was wrong, and I broke down and told her everything. "That manipulative bitch," Sarah fumed, pacing my living room. 2 years of lying to your face." Looking back, the red flags were everywhere, I admitted. She never wanted photos together, never let me post about us on social media, always came to my place rather than me going to hers, never introduced me to any of her friends. Sarah squeezed my shoulder. "It's not your fault. Some people are just really good liars." After Sarah left, I finally checked my phone. There were dozens of missed calls and texts from Victoria, ranging from angry accusations to tearful apologies to desperate pleas. The last one just said, "I'm coming over to get my things. We need to talk." I didn't respond, but an hour later there was a knock at my door. I knew it was her, but I wasn't ready. I ignored it, but the knocking became pounding, and then I heard her key in the lock. I forgot she still had a key to my place. She barged in looking nothing like the polished woman I knew. Her hair was a mess, no makeup, wearing sweats, something I'd rarely seen. "Tyler, please," she began. "Just let me explain." But then my doorbell rang. I had no idea who it could be at 8 p.m. on Christmas Day. When I opened the door, I found myself face to face with Harrison. "Sorry to intrude," he said awkwardly. "I tracked Victoria's phone here. I need to talk to both of you." Before I could respond, Victoria appeared behind me. "Harrison, you came," she exclaimed, like this was some romantic gesture. His expression remained cold. "Not for the reason you think." As soon as he said that, I felt the air in the room change, heavy, tense, like the calm before a storm. Whatever this was, it wasn't going to end quietly. Update 2: sorry for taking so long to update. My phone's been blowing up non-stop. Thanks for all the support. It's honestly what's keeping me going right now. So the unexpected Christmas night confrontation. I let Harrison in, curious about what he wanted to say. The three of us stood in my living room, possibly the most uncomfortable triangle of people in the city. "I have some questions," Harrison said, looking between us. "And I want honest answers." Victoria nodded eagerly. "Of course, baby, anything." "Don't call me that," he cut her off sharply. Then he turned to me. "When exactly did your relationship with Victoria begin?" I told him the date, even pulling up our earliest text exchanges as proof. He nodded, his suspicions confirmed. "That's what I thought. We'd been dating for 4 months at that point." He turned to Victoria. "So you were cheating on me from the very beginning?" Victoria's face crumpled. "Harrison, please, I was confused. Was I ever the only one?" he pressed. "Or were there others besides Tyler?" Her hesitation was answer enough. Harrison laughed bitterly. "Unbelievable, my family loved you. I was going to give you everything." "I made a mistake," she cried. "People make mistakes." "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary," he replied coldly. "What you did was calculated deception that lasted for years." Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out some papers. "I came here because you need to sign these. My lawyer drew them up today." Victoria took the papers with shaking hands. "What is this?" "A formal acknowledgement that the engagement ring was given conditionally upon marriage, which will not be happening, and that you forfeit any claim to it. It's worth nearly $80,000, and legally I need this document." I nearly choked. $80,000 for a ring. Victoria's eyes widened as she read the document. But Harrison, we can work through this. Sign it, Victoria, he said firmly, or I'll pursue legal action. She looked desperately between us, but seeing no support, she finally signed. Harrison took the papers back, carefully checking her signature. One more thing, he said, pulling out his phone. I've already contacted the leasing office at our apartment. Since only my name is on the lease, you have 30 days to remove your belongings. Victoria gasped. Where am I supposed to live? Harrison shrugged. Not my problem anymore. He turned to me then. I assume you didn't know about me. I swear I didn't, I replied honestly. I would never have been part of something like this if I'd known. He nodded, seeming satisfied. For what it's worth, I believe you. He glanced at Victoria. Watch yourself with this one, she's a better actress than you think. With that, he left, leaving me alone with Victoria. The moment the door closed, she turned her tears off like a faucet and glared at me. Are you happy now? She snarled. You've ruined my life, I stared in disbelief. Me, you did this, Victoria, you created this entire situation. I was trying to figure things out, she shouted. Harrison has family, money, connections, a future, but you were fun, Tyler, you were my escape. The casual cruelty of her words felt like a physical blow. Get out, I said quietly. Tyler, be reasonable, she said, suddenly switching tactics. I need a place to stay while I figure things out, just for a few weeks. Get out, I roared, surprising even myself. Take your things and get out of my life, she flinched, then quickly gathered her items. At the door, she paused. You'll regret this, she said coldly. You'll never find anyone like me again. That's the plan, I replied, shutting the door and immediately changing the locks. 2 weeks later, Harrison texted asking if I'd meet him for coffee. I was nervous walking into that cafe, still expecting some kind of confrontation. I mean, what exactly do you say to the guy who was unknowingly sharing your girlfriend with you for 2 years? I spotted him at a corner table, dressed in a suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. He stood when he saw me, extending his hand for a firm handshake. Thanks for coming, he said. I ordered you a coffee. Hope black is okay. I nodded, surprised by the gesture. We sat in awkward silence for a moment. So, he finally said, I wanted to talk because I think we both deserve closure, and I'm guessing you have questions. How long were you two together? I asked. 3 years, he replied. We met through family friends. Our fathers are in the same country club. He paused. We got engaged about 1.5 years ago. The timeline hit me like a punch. She'd already been engaged to him for 6 months when I hit our 1-year anniversary. The night I took her out to a fancy dinner I could barely afford, telling her how much she meant to me. She'd been wearing another man's ring on a chain around her neck, claiming it was a family heirloom. Did you have any idea, I asked, about me or anyone else? Harrison shook his head, his jaw tight. None. She was very careful, always had plausible excuses. Work events, girls' nights, family obligations. We compared notes for almost an hour, piecing together Victoria's elaborate double life. The weekends she told me she had work conferences. She was with Harrison at his family's lake house. The nights she told him she was having dinner with girlfriends, she was with me. She'd created an entire fictional schedule to accommodate both relationships. I have to ask, Harrison said after a pause. What did she tell you about her job? Marketing executive at Palmer Media Group, I replied, always talking about campaigns and clients. Harrison laughed bitterly. Palmer Media is my family's company. She's an administrative assistant in the marketing department, not an executive. Another lie to add to the pile. She always had such expensive tastes, I murmured. I could never figure out how she afforded it all. That would be me, Harrison said dryly. I paid for most of it. The designer clothes, handbags, jewelry, he paused. Though I'm guessing you funded plenty too. I thought of all the times I'd stretched my budget to breaking point for her. Meanwhile, she was getting the real luxury items from Harrison. There's more, he continued, pulling out his phone. I hired a private investigator after Christmas. He found evidence that Victoria has a pattern of doing this. Before me, she was simultaneously dating 2 men at her previous job, one a senior executive, the other a wealthy client. I was speechless. Victoria wasn't just a cheater, she was a calculated operator with a system. The pie also discovered she's been taking money from both of us, Harrison added. Those Venmo requests for her share of bills, I was paying those in full already. the expensive gift she claimed broke. She returned the original for cash. I did a rough calculation in my head. She probably took about $8,000 from me, I said, feeling sick. That's a lot on my salary. Harrison nodded sympathetically. I'm pursuing legal options to recover my funds. I wanted to let you know in case you want to join the complaint. As we were finishing our coffee, Harrison's phone buzzed. He checked it and laughed bitterly. Victoria just texted asking for one more chance to explain. This after trying to get into my apartment yesterday and being turned away by security. She's been texting me too, I admitted, alternating between saying she loves me and that I've ruined her life. Harrison shook his head in disbelief. The audacity of this woman. He hesitated before adding, "Look, I know this is weird, but would you want to grab a beer sometime? I feel like we're the only two people who really understand what the other is going through." I found myself nodding. Under any other circumstances, we would never have crossed paths. He was old money, private schools, and family connections. I was scholarship kid turned freelance designer with student loans, but Victoria's deception had created a bizarre bond between us. As we were leaving, a striking blonde woman approached our table. "Harrison, I thought that was you." Harrison's face lit up with genuine warmth. "Emma, what are you doing here?" "Just grabbing coffee before a client meeting," she replied, then looked at me curiously. "Emma, this is Tyler," Harrison said. "Tyler, this is my sister Emma." We shook hands, and I couldn't help noticing how different she seemed from Victoria. Where Victoria was all calculated glamour, Emma had a natural beauty and a warm smile that reached her eyes. "Nice to meet you," she said. "Are you a work friend of Harrison's?" Harrison and I exchanged a glance. "It's complicated," he finally said. "I'll fill you in later." After she left, I caught Harrison watching me. He smirked slightly. "She's single, you know." I felt my face flush. "I think I need some time before I even think about dating again." "Fair enough," he replied. "But when you're ready, just say the word." Over the next few weeks, my life underwent major changes. The Victoria situation made me reevaluate everything. I've been stuck in a creative rut with my freelance work, partly because I'd spent so much energy on a relationship with someone who didn't value me. With that burden lifted, I threw myself into work. I finalized a portfolio I'd been sitting on for months and sent it to several design agencies I'd always admired but never approached. To my shock, 3 responded with interview requests. One Apex creative offered me a position as a senior designer with an amazing salary. The first person I called was, strangely enough, Harrison. We'd been meeting regularly for beers, our unusual friendship growing stronger. "That's fantastic," he said. "We need to celebrate. Dinner tomorrow. I'll bring Emma." I hesitated. Harrison had been not so subtly trying to set me up with his sister for weeks. "Harrison, I told you I'm not ready. It's just dinner," he insisted. "As friends, Emma's been asking about you anyway." Final update. It's been 6 months since the Christmas disaster, and I'm finally closing this chapter of my life. After that dinner with Harrison and Emma, things moved quickly. Emma and I started with coffee as friends, which gradually evolved into something more. We took things slowly, both aware of the unusual circumstances that brought us together. But there was an easy comfort between us from the beginning, a natural connection that felt nothing like the constant performance of my relationship with Victoria. 3 months after our first coffee, we were officially together. The contrast between her and Victoria couldn't be starker. Where Victoria demanded constant attention, Emma was secure and independent. Where Victoria saw my middle-class background as something to hide, Emma was genuinely interested in my perspective. My new job at Apex Creative has been incredible. I'm doing the best work of my career, and last month I was given my first junior designer to mentor. My apartment is smaller than my old place, but in a much better neighborhood, walking distance to the office. Harrison and I maintained our unlikely friendship. He introduced me to his circle, and surprisingly, I found myself fitting in despite our different backgrounds. What Victoria never understood was that the Whitmores valued authenticity and character far more than status symbols. Yesterday marked a significant moment in putting the Victoria chapter behind me. I was at the mall with Emma, looking for a birthday gift for her mother, who, by the way, has been welcoming to me from day one. As we walked past a high-end jewelry store, Emma pointed out a pair of earrings she liked. That's when I saw her Victoria working behind the counter at a jewelry store. Our eyes met as she finished with another customer, her professional smile faltering when she recognized us. "Welcome to Elegance Jewelers," she said stiffly. "How can I help you?" Emma squeezed my hand. "Those sapphire earrings, please." Victoria's eyes darted to our joined hands as she retrieved the earrings, her fingers trembling slightly. While processing Emma's credit card, she finally broke character. "Are you happy now?" she asked quietly. I thought about how much had changed in 6 months: my new career, genuine relationships, and a life without lies. "Yes," I answered simply. "I am." Later that night over dinner, Harrison raised his glass. 6 months ago, we were miserable and Victoria had everything. Funny how things worked out. "To unexpected new beginnings," Emma toasted. The Christmas disaster that once seemed like my worst night had actually led me somewhere better than I could have imagined.